Pakistan's passport, now worth less than scrap. A story of global humiliation. Just imagine. There was time when Pakistan considered itself the leader of the Islamic world. It claimed that its voice carried weight across the globe. But today, that same Pakistan has failed to preserve even the basic dignity of its own citizens, the respect of its passport. The latest Henley Passport Index report has brutally exposed Pakistan's reality before the world. While countries like Singapore, Japan, and South Korea are giving their citizens visa-free access to almost every corner of the world, Pakistan's passport has become a document whose worth is now barely more than scrap. But this is not just a story about rankings, it's the story of a nation that once dreamt of leading an Islamic unity, and now finds itself shut out even by those very countries it once hoped to unite. Pakistan's passport currently ranks 103rd in the world, tied with Yemen. That means Pakistani citizens can travel to only 31 countries visa-free, out of a total of 227. Just 31. And this figure doesn't belong to a tiny island or an underdeveloped African nation. It belongs to a country that once prided itself on being a nuclear power. Below Pakistan are only three nations: Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan, countries long associated with war, terrorism, and chaos. So, the question arises, has Pakistan now officially joined the ranks? In reality, this ranking isn't just about travel freedom. It reflects a country's diplomatic credibility. A passport earns respect only when the world trusts that nation's economy, security, and stability. But in Pakistan's case, that trust has almost completely eroded. For the past 4 years, Pakistan's passport has remained among the world's weakest. The situation was the same in 2022, again in 2023, and now the 2025 report seems to have permanently cemented Pakistan's position in the list of the weak. But the real question is, why did this happen? There was a time when the mere mention of Pakistan would make global powers like the US, China, or Saudi Arabia pay attention. But today, that same Pakistan has turned into a security risk for most countries. Terrorism, fake documents, and illegal migration. These have now become part of Pakistan's global identity. And these are exactly the reasons why no country wants to open its doors to Pakistani passport holders anymore. Once upon a time, Pakistanis could easily obtain visas to Europe. But now, the European Union has officially listed Pakistan as a high-risk third country. This means every Pakistani document undergoes double verification. Whether it's for banking, trade, or even student visas, Pakistani applications are now viewed with suspicion. In contrast, look at other Asian nations like Singapore, South Korea, and Japan. Their citizens can travel visa-free to over 190 countries. Singaporean passport holders enjoy visa-free access to 193 countries. Their passport has become a global brand of trust. Meanwhile, Pakistan's passport has become a symbol of embarrassment. Now, let's talk about Pakistan's collapsing international reputation. The country's economy, buried under IMF debt, now survives purely on foreign aid. When a nation's own prime minister publicly admits that we don't even have money to pay salaries, how can the world possibly trust its citizens? Today, from the IMF to Saudi Arabia, every country that lends money to Pakistan does so with strict conditions, not out of confidence, but out of compulsion. And that's exactly why Pakistani passport holders are viewed with distrust wherever they go. At several airports, they face special screenings. In Europe, they're stopped at separate immigration counters. Sometimes, even with a valid visa, they're denied entry. All this reflects the global perception of a nation whose foreign policy has long been built on standing with one foot into boats, trying to please everyone, but earning the trust of no one. Pakistan's failed diplomacy has played a crucial role in bringing the country to this state. Its hostility toward India, betrayal of the United States, overdependence on China, and use of terrorism as a political tool all these factors have steadily eroded its global credibility. The world knows that whenever there's mention of a major terror attack, there's almost always a Pakistan connection somewhere in the story. So why would any nation keep its doors open for Pakistani citizens? Even the Gulf countries, once Pakistan's closest allies, are now distancing themselves. Nations like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar now prioritize Indian passport holders for employment, investment, and residency opportunities. In the Henley Passport Index, the UAE passport has now entered the top 10, while Pakistan's passport remains fourth from the bottom. This shows that even within the religious and cultural sphere, Pakistan's own behavior has become its biggest liability. Now, if we look at India, its passport may not yet be among the world's strongest, but its global reputation is consistently improving. In the 2025 ranking, India slipped slightly to the 85th position. Yet Indian citizens can still travel visa-free to 57 countries. And that difference is significant because the world wants to trade with India, invest in India, and collaborate in tourism and technology. Whereas with Pakistan, the world associates just one word: risk. Now imagine the daily struggles of ordinary Pakistanis, having to stand in long visa queues, submit piles of documents, and still face the fear of rejection. Several countries have even revoked transit visa privileges for Pakistani passport holders, meaning that even if you're just passing through an airport en route to another country, you still need a separate visa. For any nation, that is an extremely humiliating reality. A sign that the world no longer trusts not just your government, but your very national identity. On the other hand, Pakistan's domestic condition is showing no sign of improvement either. Political instability, IMF-imposed conditions, rising poverty, and a collapsing reputation, all of these together are turning Pakistan into what analysts now call a failing state. Until a country stabilizes its internal governance, its passport can never gain strength. After all, a passport is the identity card of a nation. And today, Pakistan's identity is tied to poverty, terrorism, and debt. The roots of this crisis go back decades. In the 1970s, Pakistan built close ties with both the United States and China. But each time, it tried to play both sides for its own gain. The US once believed Pakistan was a strategic ally, yet Pakistan sheltered extremists during the Afghan wars. China believed Pakistan would be the key pillar of its Belt and Road Initiative. But the CPEC project has now turned into a debt trap even for China itself. Amid all this, Pakistan's credibility in the world completely eroded. Even Pakistan's nuclear image couldn't save it. The global community knows that in a country with no political stability, nuclear weapons become a threat rather than a deterrent. And that fear is what keeps most nations at a distance. Today, when Pakistani citizens apply for work visas or student visas, they face rejections in many countries. Some nations have even added special security clauses for Pakistani students. The humiliation grows deeper when a Pakistani applicant sees an Indian or Bangladeshi citizen sitting next to them being granted easy entry, while their own application faces suspicion, scrutiny, and often rejection. Now let's take a look at the 31 countries that still keep their doors open for Pakistan. Most of them are small African, Caribbean, or oceanic island nations, such as Dominica, Haiti, Micronesia, Palau, St. Vincent, Trinidad Tobago, Vanuatu, and a few others. Many of these nations offer visa-on-arrival systems, meaning visitors complete the paperwork after landing. But in reality, these countries are neither significant for Pakistan's trade nor do they offer major opportunities for its citizens. In a sense, the world for an ordinary Pakistani traveler has now shrunk to just 31 small islands scattered across distant oceans. Now imagine, the dream of an average Pakistani family is to send their children abroad for a better life. But when they realize that even passing a visa interview can take months, and that too with the risk of rejection over security concerns, what happens to that dream? It's not just the failure of a passport, it's the collapse of hope. In contrast, countries like India are continuously opening diplomatic doors for their citizens. Under Foreign Minister 𝐮𝐻𝐿's visa liberalization policies, the credibility of the Indian passport has improved in many countries. Be it Japan, Australia, or Europe, trust in Indian travelers is rising. And that trust, not military power, is what truly defines a nation's strength. Meanwhile, Pakistan's prime ministers keep repeating, the world discriminates against us. But the truth is, it's not discrimination, it's distrust. And that distrust is self-inflicted. Here's an irony. Pakistan's elite class doesn't even use the Pakistani passport. Wealthy politicians, businessmen, and army generals hold dual citizenships, some with British, others with Canadian or Emirati passports. In other words, the very people who pushed the nation into this crisis don't even need the weak passport they've left behind. The ones who suffer are the ordinary citizens, for whom this passport has become a symbol of humiliation. Now imagine, when an airport immigration officer squints upon seeing a Pakistani passport, what must that traveler feel? They know it's not their fault, yet the world treats them with default suspicion. Once Pakistan proudly declared, "We have the atom bomb. No one can ignore us." But today, the harsh truth is this. Atomic weapons don't make a passport powerful. What makes it powerful is trust, peace, and progress. For Pakistan, this is no longer just a ranking, it's a diplomatic death warning. Each year, the index reminds Pakistan that while other nations are opening their borders, its own boundaries are closing in tighter and tighter. A country's passport is the mirror of its soul. And Pakistan's passport today reflects a soul weighed down by fatigue, broken dreams, and lost credibility. If Pakistan truly wishes to rebuild its status, it must understand one simple truth. No nation becomes great through terrorism, extremism, or fanaticism. Greatness comes through economic stability, international trust, and peaceful diplomacy. But until Pakistan looks inward and confronts this reality, its passport will continue to sink lower every year in global rankings. And year after year, the world will keep reminding it. Real strength doesn't come from weapons. It comes from trust.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.